I'm HITC Sport and football is cruel. I mean, you might think your football club is above that, right? No, I'm gonna take a look and find one example of a cruel transfer decision made by each Premier League club this month. Just decisions that were just callous and cruel. Right, let's go. Arsenal not letting Aubameyang leave. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has a fat contract on the desk from Saudi Arabia's Al Nassr, and Arsenal are desperate to get him off the wage bill. I mean, this whole thing reminds me of when Man City were so fed up with Robinho that they just chose to dump him back to Brazil on loan halfway through the season. Everyone was happy with that. Arsenal, though, not letting Aubameyang leave. Instead, letting him rot on a beanbag in North London. It's a bit cruel. He could be drinking gold wine on a beach in Saudi Arabia. He would be treated as an utter messiah. He would instantly take the captain's armband within 2 minutes of his medical, and over there in those leagues, it wouldn't even matter. Unlike at Arsenal, he could probably use a thing to wipe cat sick off his carpet, or wipe the nipples off a camel. He could turn up to training 3 hours late, and it doesn't really matter because he's such a big star. He'll still be given a 5-star palace and order that salt bake creep to tickle his feet for 6 hours a day. Anything he wants. It sounds like a millionaire's paradise, right? And yet, Mikel Arteta is just being a bit of a stick in the mud. Aston Villa signing Digne. Steven Gerrard and Aston Villa. This is an evil move. Honestly, this is so opportunist and predatory. I'm surprised this isn't a plotline from Desperate Housewives. Honestly, Digne at Everton was a happy marriage. He was arguably the most effective player at left back, whipping in about 300 crosses per season. The man was signing a new 4-year contract at the club only last February. He said he felt at home at Goodison Park, that his family were settled in Liverpool. Oh, how very nice. Sounds very Disney, doesn't it? All we need now is Snow White sitting in the corner breastfeeding a dwarf. I mean, this relationship was all sunshine and rainbows. So, how did it wind up like this? This is what Digne said about why he was forced to leave Everton this month.
Sometimes it takes one person from outside to destroy a beautiful love affair.
Christ above, it sounds like a quote that Colin Rooney might sell to the goddamn Sun. I mean, this season, I don't know what happened. Maybe he stole a donut out of Rafa Benitez's lunchbox. Maybe he backed over his cat in the car park. Maybe Rafa caught him sniffing the feet of his wife. I don't know. But Rafa Benitez was the only reason that Digne was frozen out of the Everton team this season. But everybody could see this wasn't going to last forever. That Rafa Benitez's contract would soon be stuffed in the recycling bin, allowing Digne to come back into the team. This was temporary, and yet Villa, a week before Benitez was sacked, a decision which would have saved Digne's relationship with the club. Just a week before that, they somehow talked him into moving to Villa Park. It's the fact you, as a former Everton captain, have willingly walked into the arms of one of the biggest Everton enemies of the 21st century. Clearly, Digne cherished his relationship with the Everton fans. Well, now you're getting bottles of Fanta Orange pelted off your head. Oh, it's just sad. Steely G single-handedly ripped Digne's Everton legacy apart with his bare teeth. It's just a bit cruel. Brentford signing Jonas Lössl. When you think of Brentford, you don't think cruel, vindictive, callous club without a flavour of emotion in their bones, right? But this decision, I can't help but feel that it shows that Thomas Frank has the conscience of a rotting pumpkin. Listen, I realise Brentford's #1 goalkeeper, David Raya, picked up a troubling knee injury in October. Well, what's the problem? It just so happens you'd already signed a 23-year-old Alvaro Fernandez just for this occasion. During the summer, the boy was dragged in alone from Huesca, and I'm sorry, this fella was the youngest #1 in the Liga last season and was making his senior debut for Spain in June. And considering the quality of Spanish goalies right now, I think that's proof that no, he doesn't have the wrists of a shrimp, right? Christ, well, he's the only Brentford footballer to pick up a medal at the goddamn Olympics. And yet, despite keeping goal in 3 Brentford wins over Everton, Watford and Aston Villa, Frank just made up his mind. Clearly he thinks that this guy is just a human burnt waffle, because instead of showing confidence in his Spanish international, he's instead gone out and brought Jonas Lössl in on loan from FC Midtjylland. You know, the guy who last time he was in a relegation battle with Huddersfield Town just kept whining in the media about how he was sick of losing. Oh yes, very helpful, Jonas. What is the point in signing Fernandes in the first place? Asking him to leave Spain for London, only to let him rot eating pizza in his flat. Instead prioritising the guy who was Everton's 3rd choice goalie. Oh, poor Alvaro. What a waste of time. Brighton rejecting Dan Burn bid. Oh, this is just the height of cruelty. Here we've got Brighton rejecting a £10 million bid from Newcastle for Dan Burn. This is a 29-year-old centre half with just 18 months left in his deal, and Brighton have only won 1 match in which he started this season. Listen, he's clearly a decent defender, but come on, he's not exactly a worldwide star you need to cling on to. You're not exactly going to be selling Brighton shirts in Mumbai and Guam with Burn 33 on the back. Here's why it's cruel though. Dan Burn is a Geordie boy. Born in Blythe, he's a former St James's Park season ticket holder. He was released by Newcastle age 11 in Christmas 2003, which he described as devastating. This is a fellow who had to go and pick up a job in Asda and focus on salvaging his career at Darlington. Burn has said that he idolises Alan Shearer even until this day. That Newcastle is his dream club. So I'm sorry, not only are you being offered the chance to play for your boyhood team, but also is the opportunity to sign for a club richer than Real Madrid. This guy once played against Paul Dummett in a Schools Cup final. Make no mistake about it, he would tear off his scrotum to even get a third of Dummett's career at St James's Park. Burn is an unfashionable former Wigan left back on wages of £16,000 a week. Newcastle could very easily offer you 5 times that salary a week. And Brighton have said no? No! I'm guessing now that Burn is probably this close to marching into the chief executive's office, ready to scoop out his eyes with a spoon. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. This is the last possible window where Newcastle United will ever retain any sort of interest in Dan Burn. Unless he wants to pick up a job cutting the grass at the training ground when he's 53 years of age. No, this is it. Aussie Brighton, if you don't let Burn go now, he will never forgive you. Let Burn go. Burnley, the Andy Carroll rumours. Okay, if Burnley don't actually end up signing Andy Carroll this month, then I'm sorry, this whole transfer story was just cruel. Because this is a man who 3 years ago agreed to give a contract to a nearly 40-year-old pundit in Peter Crouch, despite then being about as athletic as a pencil case. So clearly Dyche isn't all that fussy when it comes to centre forwards. So if he chooses to stick his nose up at a 33-year-old Andy Carroll, oh, the Geordie boy will feel so depressed. He'll probably feel like weeping into his tea. Because this is a month where he's seen 2 Reading wonder goals disallowed in the same match. A match which ended in a 7-0 defeat at home, by the way. He's also been voted the Premier League's worst ever signing this week. And now finally, if a Premier League return collapses around his feet, leaving him stuck on wages of £1,000 a week at Reading, then I guarantee you, he'll spend the first week of February smashing his face off the oven door. On Valentine's Day, he'll probably spend it crying in the sink, whilst frying his knob in the toaster, with his poor wife sitting on the couch with a tub of ice cream watching Monster-in-Law by herself. Come on, Bernie, just give him a deal. 10 years ago, he was demanding £100,000 a week from West Ham. Now, he's on 52k a year. This man is a former British record transfer signing, and now he earns less than a private dentist. Chelsea recalling Kenedy. Oh, this is just horrible. Kenedy is another example of a footballer who Chelsea Football Club have messed around ever since he was a teenage boy. This is a possessive club without Kenedy on their books since 2015. He hasn't played a Premier League match for the club in over 5 years. Clearly, he's about as much use to them as a bloodstained Kleenex. But anyway, instead of letting Kenedy enjoy his football back in Brazil, on loan at Flamengo, playing for the second best team in the country, alongside the likes of Philip Luis, Andres Pereira and Gabriel Barbosa, instead Thomas Tuchel has recalled him. So he can spend another 6 months wasting away on the bench. This isn't just like Football Manager. This man, he has a life. And now he's just wasting away in his old Fulham flat, which is probably now filled with spiders and dust. I mean, Christ up, it's been 3 years. I wouldn't be surprised if he finds a stray dog urinating in his bath. He'll probably find a couple of homeless people squatting in his cupboard. Poor old Kenedy, this just seems mean. Crystal Palace, the Donny van de Beek loan. Okay, Crystal Palace haven't really done much in this transfer window at all. So the only thing I can really say is trying to sign Donny van de Beek? I mean, it's not really cruel, is it? If anything, it's offering him a lifeline. But, I don't know, go back 2 years ago, when he was in the same class of player as Frankie de Jong at Ajax, tell him then that soon his only option would be to signing up for 6 months of football at Crystal Palace, playing in midfield with Will Hughes. I mean, sure, it would be the blondest Premier League midfield of all time. I mean, they'd all look like a cover band for NSYNC, but still, just feels wrong. Everton, the treatment of Jean-Philippe Gbamin. I'm sorry, but the treatment that Everton have shown towards Jean-Philippe Gbamin, it's ridiculous. This is a midfielder who they once paid £25 million for to take him from Mainz 05. I know he's had his injuries, but Rafa Benitez firstly told him he could leave the club this month after barely giving him an hour on the pitch. And now, the first week of January, his heart was probably doing somersaults, because apparently Roma, with the world-class Jose Mourinho in charge, apparently they wanted him on loan. Oh, probably dancing around his living room, kissing his cat on the face. And the fact that Everton were sniffing around Ainsley Maitland-Niles from Arsenal, the Ivorian probably thought, perfect, sign him up so I can go to Italy. Christ, well, this guy's from the Ivory Coast. He's seen the likes of Didier Drogba and Solomon Kalou flourish under Mourinho. He's probably already packing his bags for the airport and having to wipe drool off his chin. Instead, Everton didn't sign Ainsley Maitland-Niles. No, Roma did. Deal off, and just like that, I'm guessing Gbamin's heart cracked like an Easter egg. Leeds loaning out Cody Drameh. This is just harsh. The decision to loan out 20-year-old fullback Cody Drameh to Cardiff City. I mean, this is a depleted Leeds squad who've already fielded a bunch of teenagers so far this season. At Ellen Road, this is an underage party. So the fact that Drameh, an England under-21 international, after finally breaking into the team against Man City and Arsenal, is now being battered to South Wales. One of the only youngsters who aren't needed at the club. It's a bit of a blow to the confidence, right? Leicester, nothing. To be fair, Leicester are the only club in the league not to have made any cruel transfer decision this window at all. At all! Fair play. Next, Liverpool not selling Nat Phillips. I don't understand this. This is what Jurgen Klopp said about Nat Phillips in December.
We cannot keep him forever, that's clear. We needed him just to be safe for that half a year. We will see what happens in the window.
Right, so that all sounds great. After letting Phillips grow stale and dusty in the attic, to the point where he's probably developed crippling asthma in his lungs, after living on a diet of custard creams, being locked away like Frankenstein's monster since July, I'm surprised he doesn't also have diabetes in his feet. But great, Klopp was making it clear that he won't stand in the way of Phillips to try and move on and further his career. I don't get it. You've instead chosen to keep Phillips chained in the attic, like a modern day prisoner. Again, let him leave. Otherwise, you're just suffocating his career at the bottom of an empty box of shreddies. Man City getting rid of Patrick Roberts. This is just sad. Here we've got Patrick Roberts. 4 years ago, we were told this kid was going to be the next great Manchester City winger. We were all told about the class of this guy when they had Jadon Sancho on their books. Doesn't that just feel sick? But you've wasted his career. You have led him on for years, stuffing him out on loan to Celtic, Girona, Norwich, Middlesbrough, Derby County, and even Troyes in France. And now, after all that, you've just dumped him on the porch of Sunderland on a permanent basis. You were convincing the kid he could be the heir to David Silva, and yet here he is competing with a nearly 40-year-old Aidan McGeady in League One. The end of that Man City tunnel with a 6-month contract at Sunderland. It's just depressing. Man United, Jesse Lingard to Newcastle.
Lingard dismayed with Newcastle loan nearing collapse over £50 million terms. Manchester United want loan fee, wages and relegation bonus. Lingard feels disrespected and let down by boyhood club.
Poor old Jesse Lingard. This is laughable. It's ridiculous. Just what is going on? Lingard is a player who's given 22 years of his life to Manchester United. He's played over 200 times, scored 35 goals, one of which was a winner in an FA Cup final. He was convinced by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to give his Manchester United career another chance. After his excellent loan spell at West Ham, well, he's come back and barely being used. His contract is up in the summer, and yet the club won't let him leave now. Man United are demanding a £2.5 million loan fee, full coverage of Lingard's wages, and a £12 million relegation bonus if Newcastle avoid relegation. This is a joke. You clearly don't value Lingard as a player. I mean, Ralph Rangnick looks like he'd rather kiss his sister on the mouth than ever give Lingard a start. I haven't seen a Jesse so disrespected since season 5 of Breaking Bad. Manchester United have already refused to let this guy move on loan to Tottenham or West Ham because they are a direct top 4 rival. Fine then. Newcastle are 23 points behind you in the league. Just let him move there. It's a World Cup year. Staying at Manchester United in the eyes of Gareth Southgate, he might as well spend the next 6 months sitting in a wheelchair and pooping into a plastic bag. Honestly, the World Cup starts in November. If Lingard doesn't get a January move now, then he'll have about 10 games in the autumn to impress Southgate. That's not enough. This is the ego of Manchester United, clearly offended by Lingard's decision not to renew his contract. And so now they're trying to suffocate his England hopes in an empty packet of Monster Munch. Just let Lingard leave, otherwise this is just cruel. Newcastle signing Chris Wood. This is gloriously, delightfully cruel. It's so evil. This is arguably one of the most vindictive transfers ever in Premier League history. If I was a Burnley fan, I would be steaming from the ears. They might as well have snuck floor polish and horse laxatives into the pie in the Turf Moor canteen, because this was monstrously cruel. And make no mistake about it, Newcastle have made an enemy in Burnley fans forever. Norwich, the Todd Cantwell saga. You're not playing him, and yet you still haven't sold Todd Cantwell. What's going on? Southampton bringing in Willy Caballero. Willy Caballero was out. He was done. He was out in the cold, enjoying retirement on some beach in South America, right? Well, no, because instead he gets to spend the next 6 months sitting in a duffel coat on the Southampton bench. A former Champions League goalkeeper spending his 40s sitting on a bench with Shane Long and Theo Walcott.
The door is always open. Antonio Conte invites Christian Eriksen to train with Tottenham as he searches for next club.
This is not enough. If anything, think it's patronising. I'm sorry, but Christian Eriksen deserves more than a token branch of...
Oh, you can come and help me put out the cones in training.
You know, like Arsenal did for Jack Wilshere after he did an interview with The Athletic, where honestly, he looked like he was on the verge of drinking paint. But if Everton finishes the season having played 10 to 15 games in a row for Brentford with no issues, then questions need to be asked, because this man is a modern day Spurs legend. Someone they never wanted to leave, when Antonio Conte was the man who signed him for Inter Milan. To not even be given the chance of a 6-month deal on a free transfer, to not even give him a chance in his hour of need, to me, this doesn't sit well. Watford, the born Barisic bid. Yeah, this is the month where Watford seem hell-bent on hurting the feelings of as many left-backs in the world as they could. First of all, a Champions League finalist and World Cup semi-finalist Danny Rose was frozen out of the first team squad after 7 months at the club, told point blank that he will never represent the club again. I'm not sure what he did to deserve that. Maybe someone caught him eating 7 cheeseburgers in the showers, I don't know. But yeah, Watford then go and target Rangers Croatian left-back Borna Barisic. I mean, this is a man who is linked with Aston Villa and Roma, and yet here was Watford chucking in a £2 million bid. This was insulting, just disrespectful for our Europa League standard left back. What does that do for the confidence of Barisic? If I was him, I would be insulted. West Ham sniffing around Armando Broja. If this happens, it will be delightfully cruel and sinister. And just downright horrible. Armando Broja has lit up Southampton this season, well known from Chelsea. 7 goals already at just 20 years of age. He looks like a future superstar. And yet, instead of just letting him finish his loan spell in peace, apparently West Ham, acting like a bunch of domineering vultures, are apparently trying to steal him on a permanent basis mid-season. This is like when Wolves tried to snatch Tammy Abraham from Chelsea halfway through his loan deal at Villa Park, which would have drowned their promotion hopes in a shallow bowl of Cocoa Pops. This is just rude. It's like going into a coffee shop and asking someone out while they're already on a date with someone else. Wolves rejecting Adama Traore bids. So let me get this straight. Wolves rejected a £15 million bid from Tottenham for Adama Traore, and yet now, a week later, they are prepared to let him move on loan to Barcelona with an option, not an obligation, just an option to buy for £30 million in the summer. I'm sorry, have you not been paying attention? Barcelona can barely afford Links Africa for their armpits. So what makes you think you're going to stump up a £30 million paycheck in the summer? They just want to borrow Traore for free. This is like a homeless man asking to borrow your Xbox on the promise that, oh, he might buy it in the summer. No, he's just going to sell it out the back of a church for 3 bottles of vodka. Just don't do it. Honestly, this is both naive from Wolves and also just a bit cruel on Tottenham. A club who actually came to you with cold, hard cash in their hands, not just empty promises and a hug. Anyway, that's what it is, everyone. What do you think? What was the cruelest decision your club made this month? Let me know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe, and as always, I'll talk to you in a while.